Hi, I am Anna Taylor, and this is my classroom management video for Module 1. So today, the first thing that I want to talk about within classroom management, I recorded videos of myself teaching, but I felt it would be smart to first talk over some of the classroom management tools that are used in the room that I'm observing in. So the first one I want to talk about is a reward system, and it's called Fuzzies, and that's what's shown in the pictures you're seeing now. There are two sizes. There are big and little, and the big ones are worth 5 points. The little ones are worth 1 point. And students get to cash them in on Fridays. Now, they do have the option to hold on to them so they can get bigger prizes. The more points you have, the more things you can buy. So, like, the biggest prize is you can buy a movie for the entire class. That's 50 fuzzies. Or you can get smaller stuff like candy bars, prize box. Some of the middle type activities are getting to work at the teacher's desk for a day, getting to take your shoes off in class for the day, or anything like that. And they actually can be used as a reward or a consequence because they can be taken away as well as given. And in my mini lesson that is shown in this video, you will get to see me use them as a reward. The next type of classroom management system that is used are the names that my cooperating teacher puts on her mini fridge in her classroom. This is mostly pure consequence because if you get in trouble, you have to move your name. There are 5 different categories that you can move your name to. The first one is a warning, then you owe 5 minutes of recess, then you owe 10 minutes of recess, then you can get the whole recess taken away, and lastly, you can get sent to the principal's office. Now, I will say when you owe recess, you don't have to just stand against the wall. Obviously, with all the studies that have been done, they realize that students need that movement, so they just have to walk laps when they owe recess time. That way they still get that needed movement. And then the teacher does have the right to skip a level if that's needed. If it's something drastic, they don't have to just send it straight to warning. I sometimes have to put kids right on 5 minutes of recess, anything like that. And then this is used each day. This teacher sends home a behavior chart. And if students have a good day and their name doesn't get moved, then they get a star on their chart. If their name does get moved, then the teacher will go ahead and write in on that day of the calendar why their name got moved. That way parents can keep track of their students' behavior as well. My teacher does also use a full class reward system, and that's what's shown here. Basically, the students start out with every single option with white squares. However, if the whole class does something well, for instance, if they're all working quietly without having to be asked, they can earn a letter, and the class pet for the day gets to come up and draw the letter, and they can pick which category they want the letter to go on. Then, once students fill up the whole phrase, they get that reward. So, for example, as you can see, they've almost filled up party time. When they fill that up, they earn a class party. So that's a reward system that's used as motivation for the whole class. And that's great because in this case, it's teaching the kids to rely on each other to behave well as behaving well just as individuals. So that's a real plus, and it seems to work really well. The last portion of classroom management that I'm going to talk about for now is the seating arrangement. For the first 2 weeks of class, seats were just kind of randomly given because we didn't know much about the students at the time. However, now at this point, we know which students are the talkative students, which students are the ones that need more help focusing. So when seats were rearranged in the 3rd week of school, that was all taken into account. The desk shown is the seating that the students have, so they don't have individual desks, but it works just fine. We figured out this class only has about 6 talkers, students that really talk excessively, especially when they're around each other. So, since we have 4 tables, we were able to separate them pretty well. And then, like I said, the last thing we took into account was what students needed extra intervention, and we made sure they were towards the front of the room so that they were more easily accessible to the teacher, for lack of a better term, I suppose. So now, basically what's going to happen, you will get to see my mini lesson, which is a portion of the reading, and in this, I use a few different reward systems. The main one that I focus on here is using the fuzzies, and then I'll talk about one of our other management systems after that. You're going to be able to see yourself, okay? Looky there.
Can't see me.
Okay. Okay, are you ready? So, if we play really well today, and we're quiet and don't bother anybody else, we can all get a small fuzzy, okay? That means you don't throw a fit if you don't win, okay? Sound like a deal? Okay. Let's pick some cards. Oh, don't fight, don't fight. There's no fuzzies. Good? Oh, yep, thank you, Elijah. Hold on up there. Okay, I'm just going to give you the sound today, okay? I don't think I need to say the letters. And you're each going to tell me the letter, okay? So, Charity. S.
S.
Good. She says S. Okay. So, Carly, what's the letter?
F.
Oh, Molly, what's the letter? Okay, we'll give you another one, Molly. Okay, Molly, are you ready? K, like kite. K, like kite.
K.
Okay, very good.
Or C.
But I said like kite. What would say k, like cat?
C.
C. Okay, Elijah. X.
X.
Very good. Okay, Charity.
N.
Okay, so Chloe.
T.
Oh, I didn't tell you how we're playing, boys and girls. Let's do rows today. Okay? It's like we did yesterday. So top or bottom row.
Close.
Yeah, like top row or bottom row. Okay? Molly, E or E? Elijah, P.
P.
Okay, so Charity, or U?
U.
Is the short or the long vowel sound? Short or long? It's short. What about you? That's the long. Yeah, very good. Okay, so Chloe, W.
W.
W. Yeah, very good. Okay, Molly, or O? Or O? Okay, Elijah.
N.
What is it? N. Like monkey.
N.
Because N is like nest.
It's already covered.
What about like monkey? What other sound is really close to N? Or like Molly. Do you want help? Yeah. Can someone help? M. Yeah. M. Good. Okay, Elijah. How about Qua?
Queen.
Queen? What's the letter?
I think me and Elijah are both gonna win.
You think you and Elijah are... Ooh.
Yes, I'm holding.
Okay, Charity. B.
B.
B. Okay, so Chloe. Z.
That's a D.
That's a D, so Chloe. Good, that's okay. Z.
Z.
Z. Okay, Molly. Z. Z.
V.
V. Oh my gosh, we're almost through our letters. Okay, Elijah. A or A?
A.
Okay. Okay, Charity. D.
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 She won.
What do you say?
Bingo.
Good. And J? J was the very last letter. So you wouldn't won until the very end.
Oh, I have a J.
Probably won though, very good. Okay, boys and girls, let's pick up quietly, and then you can all go put in a small fuzzy because you played very well today. Okay? So help me pick up quietly. And remember, today's the last day we're going to play bingo like that. Okay, tomorrow we're going to do short vowel sounds. Okay? Oh, let's put all the red dots on top, okay? Hand me all those. Just put your cards in here for me. And go give yourself... Oh, Thank you. Thank you. Go get a small fuzzy. Small fuzzy. Thank you. Once give me 3. Can you please actually don't grab your books, leave them where they are. Come up, find your reader spot on the carpet for me really fast, and stretch on your way there if you need, okay? Stretch on your way there if you need. If there's books on the carpet in your spot, just sit near them, okay? The last major type of classroom management that is used in our classroom is called Give Me 3. And so you say, "Once give me 3," and that tells the kids that they have to stop what they're doing with their hands, they need to close their mouths and stop talking, and they need to open their ears and listen. And that's what we use to get the students' attention when they're off busy doing other things, and it works really well. We practiced it a lot the first week to where it was really ingrained in the students, and now they just kind of do it without even having to think about it, and it's great to see. So, in my large group lesson, basically what you're going to see is the students are doing their silent reading. I'm going to use "Once give me 3" to gain back their attention, and then I'll be able to tell them what we're going to do in the next portion of the lesson. So that's the last big classroom management tool that is used. Okay, "Once can you give me 3, please?" Julia? Chase? Okay, I need your eyes on me really fast, okay? I want you to work on something. We're not going to do partners yet, okay? But I want you to think about which book you're going to introduce to your partner, okay? Because when I say partner time, Julian, listen. When I say partner time, are you and your partner going to be like, "Oh, well, what do you want to talk about? I don't know, what do you want to talk about?" Is that how we want to do it? No, that's going to waste a lot of partner time, okay? So I want you to think about what book you're going to introduce to your partner and think about how you're going to introduce it, okay? And during this silent time, if you want to practice it just a little bit, that's okay. Okay? Okay, now, you can go ahead, stand up really fast, boys and girls, because you've been sitting for a little bit. You can stand up and stretch really fast, okay? If you want to stand up and stretch really fast, you can, because you've been sitting for a little bit. Okay, so when you sit back down, think about how you're going to introduce it, okay? Okay, good. Everybody sit down. Okay, go ahead, go back to your silent reading, okay? Okay? Go back to silent reading. Dalton, your partner will be back. Jackson. Right, yeah, he's not here. Okay, Molly, let's see here. Okay, oh, back here, boys and girls, you shouldn't be talking yet, okay? Think about what you're going to introduce. You only have 3 minutes. Hi there. So I am going to, now that I'm done with all of the teaching of the lessons for this unit or module, I'm going to go ahead and reflect based on the questions that we were given prior to creating the lesson. So I do have some notes, so I'll be looking down occasionally, but I'll try to keep my eyes up for the most part. The first question we were asked to address was, how did I plan for the behavior issues, and how did I go ahead and implement them in my plan for teaching the lesson? So I was very lucky. The class I was given, there aren't a ton of major behavior issues. For the most part, they're really great kids, like they always are at this age. So I just had to adjust for little things going in that I knew about. For example, there's 2 boys that are reading partners, and they were made reading partners based on the level of reading that they were at, but they are 2 boys that sometimes really struggle to work together. So knowing that going in, I made sure that they chose somewhere to sit that was close to me and somewhere that would not get them in trouble. So that was something I was aware of right away. There is another girl who, she gets very easily distracted at times, but she also does really well with positive reinforcement. So I made sure to let her know that she had the potential to be used as an example for the class, and that it would be important for her to show the class how to behave, because that's stuff that she really thrives on, and that really helps her. So that was something I did for her. And then there were two other kids that I kind of had to use, I don't want to say negative reinforcement, but I had to remind because they lack a lot of motivation and they really struggle sometimes to get started. They just need a lot of redirection, I guess would be the best way to say it. One of them does have ADHD, so they need even more extra support. So I always go around and make sure that I kind of nudge them along. But after a while, I also do go ahead and remind the whole class that I don't want to have to write down students' names for not working, because if they get their name written down, they miss recess. And when I remind the whole class, that means that I don't narrow them out. The class doesn't know that I'm talking just to them, but they're aware of, oh, okay, I need to redirect and control myself so that my name doesn't get written down. So that was something I had to use for them. And then with the kids at bingo, one thing that I did was I did say that I would reward them with a small fuzzy, meaning that if they played and didn't fight and nobody boasted when they won or nobody got upset when they lost, then they would get a fuzzy in reward. Now, that's not something that I always do, and we've been playing bingo with that group long enough that they know how to play it, but the positive reinforcement is always good. So that was something that I did. Challenges that I encountered, there were quite a few. The mid-workshop lesson, I did the 1C Give Me 3 to help refocus kids, but it didn't work as well as I'd hoped, and I think I know why, so I'm going to reflect on that in just a moment. But the other challenge that I kind of faced was I had to call out students to make good choices, and then within small group, you didn't necessarily see it in the video, but sometimes I have a problem of kids getting distracted and looking around the room. So that was something else I had to address. So as far as what I learned from this lesson, there's a lot. I messed up a lot in like small ways, so obviously I'm still learning. In small group, there was a boy who wasn't focused, and I think as I get a smaller group, I sometimes forget that they can get just as easily distracted as when I'm working with all 20 students. So one thing that I've done since then to fix that is he always sat on the end. So if my vision was on the other side of the table, I would miss him just turned around doing nothing. So I adjusted and I moved him to the middle, and I didn't draw him out. I said, we're going to switch up our seating arrangement, and so he's going to sit here and so-and-so's going to sit there. So that way he's always in my line of sight, and that helps me be better focused on him the whole time. The large group, one thing that I've adjusted since then, when I do that break in that mini lesson, one thing I didn't like was that I had my back turned to some kids no matter which direction I faced, because I let them stay in their spots when I gave directions. I think that's one of the reasons the 1C Give Me 3 did not work very well, because I could not see all the students, and especially at that age when you're not making eye contact with them, sometimes they struggle to listen. So, since then what I've done is I'll say 1C Give Me 3. At that point in the lesson, they always need some kind of a stretch because they've been silent reading for almost 15 minutes. So I will have them walk to me at some point of the room. So I'll say, today let's meet by the sink. And all of the students will get up and they'll go to the sink. That way I can see all of them, and they're in a small enough group that I'm able to address all of them and make eye contact with all of them. And I found that that just works a lot better. So that was one thing I definitely learned from this lesson. And then I need to let them move a little more, and we've started doing Go Noodles, which are like brain breaks, to help them with that, so that's another thing. And then the one other thing, I just want to work on using positive reinforcement more. And I'm not necessarily bad at it, but I think that's the one area that I can really improve. So overall, I thought it was a really good lesson for one of my first ones. I learned a lot from it, and I'm already implementing some of the stuff that I've learned from it. So I think it went well, and I'm sure my next one will go even better.